Hi, Nick Collier here, and this is my shop. Come join me. We'll have some fun.
Nick Collier here again, and today we're going to kind of work on a project I've been meaning to do for, I don't know, 5 or 7 years, as long as I've owned this tracer attachment connected to this lathe. Let's look at the project and see what we got to do. Look down. So when I got the tracer attachment, I was pretty excited about it, and you know, I just kind of threw things together so that they would function, just to test it out and see if it worked. And at the time, I put these little guides together. Let me slide this one on. I took it off earlier, and it goes like that. And then a master goes in between the cones, and that's where you pull your trace. But what happened is and these work fine for the moment, but and they have a little, hang on a sec, I built a little step into them so it would index into the bar nice and smoothly, and I built a little T-nut for it. I mean, you know, I messed around and did all that, and so all of that is done. Now the problem is when you go to tighten this thing up, it can tighten up, but it can also tweak and bind a little bit. You can see it can walk pretty easily. Oh, are you seeing that? Yeah, you're kind of seeing it. Let's get you more centered. And you can see that that it walks back and forth pretty easily, but which would, of course, set the center forward and aft of the block itself. So I thought, well, here's what we need to do. We need to make a block that's at least twice as wide, so that when it locks in, there's no chance of it tweaking one way or the other or getting caught up. And then the other thing is that I've noticed that the cones, although I'm going to try it out first before. Notice I've got a feeler gauge back here. I was trying to get this cone adjusted by adjusting it in and out. Now, I'm probably going to set it up so that I can adjust this cone in and out, and this cone adjust in and out this way, so that I can tighten it up against the master. So let's go over to the mill and have a look at what I've come up with, and we'll play around a bit. Okay, so what I want to do is make the same thing except a bit wider. And so went out in my scrap bin, and lo and behold, here was a nice piece of aluminum that's just you know, probably 3 times wider and a little bit higher, which is no big deal one way or the other. So what we're going to do, I think first what we have to do is get this thing somewhat squared up. I think it's going to be fine, but we'll square up this end to this. I may as well just open it up right now while we're here. Clean off our faces. Yeah, it looks like I've got a raw edge. Well, just right on this end where I cut it. So I think what we'll do is go in this way. And that's gonna be, we'll go from that end there. It'll be kind of like that. Let's take off the T-nut. Now I gotta find that sucker, because that's how things get lost. I'll drop it down there and then leave for the day and come back and forget that I dropped it down there, and sure enough, there it is. Then it goes in the garbage and I'm out of T-nut. All right, there's the nut. Here's the bolt. And a washer. And that's pretty good for that. Now the other thing is that we've got this little bolt here, and that is set up, and I will show you a master, because there's two ways you can approach it. Which makes it really a universal tool. The other way you can approach it is to go and attach your master to that nut, and then you can adjust it in and out or back and forth and come up with your contour. So we'll end up putting a screw hole in the tops of both sides here, and I think we're ready. Let's see if we can find a bit that will do the job. Something like that. Oh, not bad, huh? Okay. And since this is for me, I can take my time and, you know, just kind of dink around until we get what we want. I'm not watching the clock. All right, that's a good start. We'll get that down there. Go the right direction. There we go. Yeah, it was in the pottery room because I took a picture, or I took a video of the.
I walked right past it.
Me too, 6 times.
Okay, I'm gonna go put some lighter clothes on and go for a walk.
Okay. Well, I can say it was a good bit. It looks like there's a burn mark or something on that bit. Although I don't see anything. Huh. Let's give it another try. Yeah, I see a shadow right there. You see it? So when we turn it off, you can't see it. Oh yeah, I can feel it. It looks like maybe it hit some pretty hard metal or something like that. Maybe a screw head. Alright, well, that bit's done deal. I mean, it can still be used for oddball stuff. And I probably come to that same conclusion a dozen times over the years. Forgetting that it was messed up and putting it back in the kit. Oh well. Come on. There we go. Let's give this one a try and see what we got. Much better, much better. There's still a bit of a line there, but I'm thinking that line is from the old cut. I just didn't quite get far enough down. So let's give it another try. Nice. Nice and clean. Alright, so now we have to cut this shoulder in here. And that shoulder is going to be a bit of a problem. I'm thinking, well, actually, let's square up the other side. We've got rough edges, so I'm going to take it over to the sander. Good clean edge. All right, let's do the same thing to the other one. Well, we're out to our limit. At some point or another, I must have pulled this head out, so we're going to pop it back in and give ourselves a little more room. That should do the trick. That looks pretty good. Flip it around. Oh, let me go get the edges off. Alright, we're going to take a square and we're going to drop it in at the back here. The forward doesn't really matter where it's at. Snug that down. Make sure we're nice and even. Doesn't look like it. I'd say that's not bad. Tighten it up. We're off by about 20-30 thousandths there. So no big deal. Okay, what I want to do is I want to do that back side too. Just not sure I can get to it. Let's see if we can. Let's see if we can just hang on to it. Slide it out a ways. Get ourselves a wood clamp here. Snug it down real good. And we can now pick this whole thing up, turn it around. Of course the clamp's in the way now, but we can get a parallel. Alright, that should do it. Okay, we need to get over here. Take the clamp off. Do one more pull here. Well, that did that in. I forgot that the automatic feed on that sucker is broken. Well, we destroyed that. I'm sure we destroyed that bit. I don't know, it looks pretty good. Jesus. We definitely destroyed the corner of the block, but you know, okay, the corner of the block's destroyed. Not paying attention. Still together though. About as close as we're going to get. Okay, let's try this again. This time we won't, we'll pay a little bit more attention. Well, you can see it hit the top and not the bottom, but that's because this whole thing is off center. Alright, we're going to put some lower parallels in. We're going to drop this thing down. Looks like we're there. Okay. Pop this off, and we've got two blocks that are parallel with each other in this way here. Okay, we've got our two blocks parallel with each other in the vise on top of a couple of fairly small parallels, because what we're going to have to do here is we're going to come in and make this standoff and then drill holes in the piece in order to get the bolt to go through. Okay, and this bit here, well, I kind of chewed it, so the end got pretty mangled. You can kind of see it. I mean, it's in fairly good shape, but it got pretty hot, so I'm thinking that the tips are a little funny. So we're just not going to use it. We'll go to another bit. There's 1, 10, 25. All right, there's a good cut. Bring it down till it touches. And it's not real critical. All right. Good clean edge. So we need to go from there. Looks like 390. and that's wider than 390. All right, so we've got a 1/2 inch bit, or is that 3/4? Almost certain that's 3/4. Yep. All right, we'll just call it quits there, and we're just going to work our way down. Okay, so this lip needs to be 140 in order to fit. What have we got here? And we are sitting at 135. All right, well, I think we should take maybe 10 thousandths off of that, just to make sure. Just set her down. All right, I think it's time to come in and take that burr off. Because we're going to take a measurement from that shoulder. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to come in and drill ourselves a hole all the way through it at 5/16. I believe that's what this is. 300 thousandths? No. Okay, we're centered up on the X factor. We need to center up on the Y. Put our drill bit in. So our number is 1, 2, 5, 3. Okay. Let's drill ourselves a hole right down the center of this beast. Okay, off to the next one. Down just a little bit more. Let's, we're going to take this to All right, let's make sure that bolt is going to go down in there. Like a dream. Well, no sweat. Okay, so what's our next move? Our next move is I think what we want to do is we want to put our holes in. But before we do that, I think it's probably a good idea to, because I know that the threaded is not going to be a good solid centered hole. So I think what I want to do is get rid of the threads and make another cone that'll sit on there and adjust by just by a kind of a jam nut. So I think we should go over to the little lathe and make ourselves a couple of cones.